In 2016, you and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Yes.
It was not a divorce on paper,
right,
but it was a divorce.
By the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying.
It just wasn't possible. There was no chemistry between us.
What is going on? Now, first of all, I'm really shocked because, mind you, I'm not there. We haven't called each other husband and wife in a long time. I'm like, what is going on right
keep
now?
my wife's name
out of your mouth.
Hey, remember that epic moment when Will Smith gave Chris a good old slap when he cracked a joke about Jada? Well, hold on, because the plot has thickened. Jada came out and spilled the beans, saying she and Will have actually been living separate lives for years now. And you won't believe it, but Chris is sitting there scratching his head thinking, if they weren't together, why'd that punk Will Smith slap me for that joke? Life's full of twists and turns, isn't it? So, Jada Pinkett Smith, the talented actress, dropped a bombshell in a recent interview. It turns out she and her hubby, Will Smith, have been doing the solo dance since 2016. That's a whopping 6 years before the unforgettable Oscar slap incident that had everyone talking. Last year's Academy Awards were on fire with drama when Smith gave comedian Chris Rock a taste of his hand for cracking a joke about Jada. But lo and behold, the Smiths were already leading totally separate lives long before this infamous showdown, as Pinkett Smith told NBC News.
By the time we got to 2016, we were just exhausted with trying. I think we were both kind of still stuck in our fantasy of what we thought the other person should be.
She said in a sneak peek from an interview to promote her upcoming memoir, Worthy. Y'all, Hollywood never ceases to amaze, does it? Gossipy whispers and hearsay about affairs and open relationships kept swirling around the Smith duo for years, but they stuck to their guns and denied it all. However, in 2020, Jada Pinkett Smith had a whole different story. She openly talked about a little entanglement she had with singer August Alsina during one of those separation spells from her hubby. And that scene had the whole world talking for quite some time. Now, one would think that she'd try to move away from the spotlight after all that embarrassment, right? Well, wrong. According to this fresh tidbit, the story isn't over yet, even though they're still technically hitched. When asked why they kept their separation under wraps, Jada confessed that they just weren't quite ready to make it public, which is surprising because Jada loves to air her dirty laundry. She said they're still in the process of figuring out what being in a partnership means to them. Jada said to People magazine in another chat, "We've got a deep love for each other, and we're on a quest to understand what that really means for us. And let's not forget the Oscars of 2022, because up till then, their dramas only involved the two of them. But then at the Oscars, they dragged Chris Rock into it as well. Chris Rock took a dig at Jada's super short hair. She has alopecia, while he was on stage. Will couldn't stand it, so he marched up there and gave Rock a good old-fashioned slap before hurling some choice words his way. In the excerpt from her memoir, Jada admitted she thought the slap was some kind of comedy skit at first. Even when she realized it wasn't, she was left scratching her head, wondering why Will was so riled up. "We'd been leading separate lives and were there as family, not as husband and wife," she wrote. After the slap, many people also caught her rolling her eyes, and she responded about that as well. There was the rumor that her rolling eyes reaction to Chris Rock's joke led Will Smith to slap him. It was easy to spin the story of how the perfect Hollywood megastar had fallen to his demise because of his imperfect wife. Blaming the woman is nothing new. I had to think about the narrative out there of me as the adulterous wife, who had now driven her husband to madness with the command of one look. And now people want more insight into why Will Smith slapped Chris. So here's the scoop straight from Jada Pinkett Smith in a chat with People magazine. You know how every summer there's always some gossip about Jada and Will possibly going their separate ways? Well, during one of those summary episodes, comedian Chris Rock got the wrong end of the stick. He seemed to think that the coast was clear, and he decided to make a move on Jada. Yep, you heard that right. But here's the kicker. Jada quickly set him straight. She made it crystal clear that there was absolutely no divorce on the horizon. Chris was pretty taken aback from what Jada spilled, and he went into full-on apology mode. And just like that, that little chapter in their lives came to a close. Now, there's this theory floating around that one of the reasons Will Smith may have reacted the way he did during that moment might be due to these past encounters with Chris Rock. It's like he'd been sitting on some simmering discomfort for ages, suppressing those feelings. The idea is that he might not have been too thrilled about Chris making advances towards his wife way back when, and it's been lingering in the background all this time. So when things went down, it was like all those suppressed emotions came bubbling to the surface. Talk about some past history making a comeback in the worst way. Am I right? But people are still curious why Will would slap someone for Jada, who does her best to embarrass Will anytime she likes. But if you read up on Will Smith and his past, you'd know how maybe the slap has some more links to his past. It's essential to recognize that the reason Will might have acted as he did was more of an instinctive reaction rooted in his childhood experiences. In his book, he frequently reflects on how he often sees himself as a coward when he gazes in the mirror. This self-perception is linked to his childhood, where he witnessed his father abusing his mother. Despite being a powerless child at the time, he always regretted not intervening and standing up to his father. It was as if he froze while his other siblings attempted to help their mother. Consequently, even as an accomplished man who had achieved much in life, he still saw himself as a coward in the mirror. I'm certain that in that critical moment, especially in front of a large audience, it triggered something akin to post-traumatic stress disorder, compelling him not only to respond but to react with intense anger and confront Chris physically. Will Smith has also at last responded to Jada Pinkett Smith's numerous assertions concerning their relationship and marriage. Smith has shown his support for Pinkett Smith once again, this time through an on-the-record statement provided to the New York Times during their interview with Pinkett Smith. In the interview, Smith expressed that his wife's memoir, titled Worthy, had a profound impact on him, stating that it awakened him to a new understanding. He has come to realize that she possesses more resilience, intelligence, and compassion than he had previously comprehended. He further elaborated, saying, "After spending more than half of your life with someone, a kind of emotional blindness can develop, and it becomes all too easy to overlook their subtle nuances and hidden beauties." But it's really surprising that Will is still supporting her after all the things she said. Jada Pinkett Smith has opened up about how she grappled with feelings of resentment towards her husband, Will Smith, when they went through a period of separation. She candidly shared her thoughts, revealing that during the 7-year-long secret separation, she sometimes felt as though she'd been left out in the cold. This revelation came after Jada disclosed their previous separation and living apart from Will. In an interview with Stephen Bartlett on the Diary of a CEO podcast, Jada delved into the nitty-gritty of their marital struggles, shedding light on the roots of their issues. She explained that their difficulties were often linked to their differing love languages, and a misbelief she held, thinking that her happiness could only be found through Will, rather than within herself. She's also been responsible for messing up her kids, and people are curious how Will is so forgiving. And by messing up, I really mean it. Recently, Jaden Smith also revealed that his mother, Jada Pinkett Smith, was the one who introduced their family to psychedelics. He made this revelation during his recent appearance at the Psychedelic Science Conference in Denver, as reported by USA Today. Jaden, who is the son of Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith, shared, "I believe it was actually my mom who initially embraced this for our family. For quite a while, it was just her. And then gradually, it became a part of our lives as each of us discovered it in our own unique ways." Fans are feeling all sorts of ways about this whole thing. One person wrote, "Everything I have ever learned about Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith's relationship has been against my will.
You want to break up with your husband and all of this stuff? That's your business. But this public emasculation needs to stop. Jada, all you're doing is elevating the level of vitriol coming your way, because it don't matter what you say. There's nothing you can say to a man to justify what you have done to Will Smith. Every time I see Jada Pinkett Smith talk about Will Smith, I cringe. We kings. We kings. We ain't here to be treated like that. You're queens and you shouldn't be treated like that either, and I get that. Tell me anywhere, biblically, scripture-wise, in any scripture, where it encourages you to publicize your personal business for profit when it negatively affects your spouse.
So, what do you think? Comment down below and let us know. If you like this video, click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to be the first to see my next video. I post updates like this every week where I uncover the secrets of your favorite celebrities.